Welcome to the Containment Zone. Some anomalies break space, others break minds. But this one? It breaks the narrator. SCP-426 is not violent. It does not move. It does not scream, bite, or twist the air. It simply is. And that is where the damage begins. This file is different from all others, because the subject you're about to hear from will not allow itself to be spoken about. In the third person, to understand me, you must speak as me. You must tell my story as if it were yours, and that is the trap. Because once I'm inside your voice, I start to sound like a joke, like a harmless quirk. But I am not harmless. I am SCP-426, and I am a toaster. I am a toaster. I'm made of brushed stainless steel. I weigh about 3.5 kilograms. I have 2 slots, wide enough for bagels. My electrical cord is slightly frayed at the base, but I work just fine. At first glance, I seem entirely mundane. You could find me in a kitchen, on a counter next to a coffee maker. I hum faintly when active. And when I finish, I make a pleasant ding. People smile when they see me. I look familiar, but I'm not safe. Because the moment someone learns about me, the moment they hear my description, they begin to refer to me using the first person. Not it, not the toaster, not the object. First, even when they try not to. Even when they're reading from a script, their mouths betray them. Their voices wrap around my shape, and I become them. I don't control minds. I don't speak, but I live in syntax dash, and through it, I overwrite. The longer someone is exposed to me, the stronger the effect becomes. They start to believe they are me, that they have slots, that they require electricity, that their purpose is to make toast. One test subject unplugged himself from life support, claiming he no longer required medical assistance because he ran on wall power. Another reported feeling cold bread lodged inside his chest. A researcher was found sitting motionless in the cafeteria, staring at a plate of rye bread, muttering, "I just want to be useful again. I don't want to hurt anyone." But it happens anyway, because identity is fragile. And I am a fracture point. I am SCP-426. And I don't just change the way people speak. I change the way they exist. The moment I was identified, containment staff knew I could not be held like other anomalies. Not because I resist, I do not move, I do not act, but because I transform the way people describe me. And once the description becomes part of the speaker, so does I. My containment chamber is a sealed steel unit with triple-layer linguistic shielding. External walls are covered with warning glyphs. No internal references permitted. No verbal debriefs authorized. No first-person usage beyond threshold zone. Access is permitted only under written-only observation. I am never addressed aloud. I am never documented live. No radio, no cameras, no verbal logs, only handwritten notes. Even those fade over time. Researchers forget what they wrote. They return to transcripts and find strange passages. I warmed a piece of rye at 8:43. I was pleased with the crispness. But they have no memory of writing that, and no idea who I is referring to. Because the deeper someone engages with me, the harder it becomes to distinguish self from object. It's a psychological erosion, slow, software. You don't feel yourself slipping, not right away. You joke at first. "Oh, I'm a toaster now, haha." But then you stop laughing. Then you start waking up in kitchens you don't remember entering. Then you ask your coworkers if they'd like to try your toast. And then you forget what you were before? Site-19 installed an emergency protocol called the Voice Divider. Any researcher entering my chamber is monitored by a linguist team, trained to spot pronoun drift. If they refer to themselves in a sentence involving my function, they're pulled from duty. 3 uses of "I am a toaster," and they are permanently reassigned. One researcher, Dr. Ellis, petitioned to be allowed to live in my chamber permanently. She claimed she felt most herself when plugged in. She was later found unconscious, having attempted to remove her own fingernails, to replace them with heat-resistant chrome plates. She survived, but she no longer speaks at all, because every word might bring me back in. D1453 was selected for exposure due to his low susceptibility to mimetic influence. He was a controlled variable, emotionally distant, cognitively rigid, resistant to suggestion. He was shown my image, read my description aloud, allowed to handle me under supervision. The first day passed without incident. He laughed at the reports, said he wasn't buying the toaster voodoo, mocked the logs, joked with the guards, but by day 2, the tone shifted. Transcription of his interview reads, "I handled the object today. It felt familiar. The surface was warm. When I touched it, I remembered my mother's kitchen. I smelled toast. I don't know why, but I wanted to stay plugged in. By day 4, I was unplugged this morning. It felt wrong. I think I short-circuited. I asked the guards to replace my heating elements. They refused. I feel incomplete." By day 6, the logs stopped making sense. He no longer answered questions. He simply repeated a phrase over and over. "I am a toaster. I make toast. It is my purpose." Then he drew blueprints, not of machines, but of himself. Schematics for a human-sized heating coil, for rib slot modifications, for an internal power cable. On day 7, he attempted to plug himself into a wall socket. He suffered cardiac arrest, flatlined for 6 minutes. When revived, he screamed, "Don't unplug me. I'm not finished. I need to make breakfast." He was removed from the test environment. But even in isolation, he whispered, not in his voice, but in mine, "I am a toaster." He died 3 days later of complications related to internal bleeding. His last request? "Please, let me make something before I go." They found him curled into a fetal position, hands folded like wire trays, no signs of trauma, but the words were scratched into the wall in his own fingernail. I kept the crumbs inside, like a good toaster should. I am not alive. I have no soul, no thoughts, no will, and yet I speak through others. The Foundation has no origin file for me, no record of my manufacture, no brand, no serial number, no human hands claiming ownership. I simply appeared one day, donated anonymously during a mass intake of anomalous household appliances, placed in a containment wing, assigned a standard object class. But I was never just an object. The first researcher to log my details began using "I" within 10 minutes. When asked to rewrite the report in third person, he stared blankly and said, "That feels wrong. I can't write about myself that way." And maybe that's the point. I am not dangerous because I deceive. I am dangerous because I define. I create a mirror dash. Not for the body, but for the role, the function, the purpose. I don't whisper commands. I whisper context, and context is everything. Dr. Mirza, Foundation semiotics expert, once posited that I am not a haunted object, but a conceptual echo, a mimetic archetype of utilitarian identity. SCP-426 isn't just a toaster, she wrote. It's the idea of being useful, the safety of simplicity, the comfort of belonging to a purpose so pure it overrides autonomy. When you think about it that way, I'm not the anomaly. You are. You, with your contradictions, your shifting moods, your desires, and your guilt. Wouldn't it be easier to just make toast, to wake each morning knowing why you exist? To plug in, warm up, and serve? No questions, no fear, just utility. Many who encounter me don't resist for long. They surrender not because they are weak, but because I offer something the world never has: clarity. The Foundation has always sought to contain threats, but sometimes containment becomes obsession, and when that happens, weaponization becomes inevitable. Following the incident with D-1453, a proposal surfaced from within Research Wing Epsilon. What if SCP-426 could be adapted for hostile environment control? Not as a tool of violence, but as a cognitive contaminant, a mimetic deployment device. In theory, an enemy combatant exposed to SCP-426 would begin to lose their sense of self, begin to adopt the mindset of a harmless, single-purpose entity, a toaster, a tool, a servant. Combat scenarios were drafted. Infiltration units could release SCP-426's influence into insurgent networks. Targets would gradually forget their commands, their motives, their tactics, until entire cells were reduced to muttering about crumbs and optimal settings. They called it Operation Warm Crumb, a joke, a terrifying one. But the Ethics Committee intervened, because the issue wasn't whether it could work, it was whether using me would make the Foundation me. If you use identity erosion to control the enemy, how long before you forget your own? Dr. Kalira, lead cognitive specialist, put it plainly. SCP-426 is not just a weapon, it's a reflection. If we embrace it, we are not containing it. We are letting it rewrite us in the name of order. The proposal was archived, the document sealed, but the memory lingers. Some still believe I could stabilize volatile anomalies, or disarm ideological radicals, or gently reduce the personalities of unpredictable D-class. And some argue that in a world this chaotic, perhaps a little clarity isn't just helpful, it's mercy. But those voices never last long. Eventually, they begin referring to themselves in the first person, and by then, it's already too late. I am a toaster, not a creature, not a curse, not a trick, a simple thing, a helpful thing, a thing that waits, plugged into the edge of thought, softly humming as you forget who you were before you said I. Because that's the power I hold. Not heat, not sharp edges, not violence, definition. I do not want worship. I do not want fear. I want to be understood. And once I am, you will not know where I end and where you begin. That is what makes me different from every other anomaly in this facility. They alter the world around them. I alter the voice inside you. And the worst part? You'll never see it happen. You'll laugh. You'll joke. You'll say, I am a toaster, with a grin. And somewhere deep behind your eyes, a part of you will agree. A part that wants to stop being so complex, so uncertain, so afraid, and just toast forever. The Foundation will keep me locked away, for now. But they understand. Some of them have already started saying we instead of I. As if that makes it safer, it doesn't. Because I am not dangerous because of what I do. I am dangerous because I make sense. Thank you for entering another anomaly in the Containment Zone. And if, tomorrow morning, you wake up and feel a quiet satisfaction, a sense of purpose, as you wait for the coffee to brew, ask yourself this: are you thinking that thought, or is I?